We are streaming this
Yes.
online,
Yes.
and the camera is up there by the clock. And depending on your comfort level being here, if you want to take your mask off.
I
or
will,
speaking,
I will,
yeah.
I will take it when I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Yes,
We have some air purifiers here and everything. So,
yes,
and you're recording too?
yes, because they didn't know about this, so they are, some of them are here.
Oh, some of them are on the Zoom.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Some of the students.
Welcome. It's really nice to have you here and so many new people also, and welcome all of you online, on video, and also those of you on Zoom who can hear me but not see me.
That can be remedied. Shall I turn it around?
No. There. We're really, really delighted to welcome you back, Swamiji, and we've sort of yogically longed to be able to welcome you back during these past few years, and are so grateful that you're here and that you all are here with Swamini. For those who are new, Swamini Vidyananda Saraswati has taught at several universities nationally, including UC Berkeley, and she is, I would say, world-renowned Vedanta teacher. And the teaching style is very direct, clear, and easy to apply in our daily life. Swamiji is a disciple of Puja Sri Swami Dayananda Ji Saraswati, an internationally known acharya of the Advaita Vedanta tradition. Swamini brought one of her new books with her, so those who are here on site, you can purchase this on your way out if you haven't already done so. So welcome you very much, Swamini, and welcome Yogacharya O'Brien, CSE's founder and spiritual director.
Greetings, everyone. I just want to take a moment to welcome you, Swamiji. It is truly a privilege for us to have you with us. And I want to say that you are our first guest. Since COVID, we have not had a guest teacher here. And so I know that you always bring a blessing with you. And I feel that that is the case tonight, and especially as our first guest inaugurating that return for us. I think the other thing I would like to say is that Swamiji is very dear to my heart as a spiritual friend and a respected teacher. I always learn from her, and so I'm really grateful to be able to do that with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Om Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaaya Trayambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagni Kalaya Kalagni Rudraya Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Sriman Mahadevaya Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you for your welcome, for your hospitality, Yogacharya ji. And it is a privilege and a blessing to be with you, to be at this sacred space and to be able to share a few thoughts. And the space here has got the resonance that invites everybody. It's a very inviting space. And it's a space for learning. It's a space for study, serious study and immersion into understanding the truth of oneself. Really speaking, that's all that there is there. What else is this birth for? Other than finding out who one is. In a famous dialogue in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Upanishad means a body of knowledge, the holy scriptures, part of the Veda, the last portion of the Veda, which we say was revealed rather than composed or written. And the word Upanishad means that which destroys self-ignorance in a way that it never returns. And how does it do that? By taking one, by walking one to Brahman, which means the limitless truth of oneself. That is the Upanishad. And in so doing, I'll hold it in the hand. Give. Yeah. Bye-bye. Yeah. Are you able to hear now? Is it better? How about online? Is it better? Yes. Okay. Fantastic. This is the meaning of the word Upanishad. That which destroys the ignorance of the I by making sure that this ignorance never returns again. Because we can destroy many things like weeds and they pop up again 2-3 months later. What do they say? Ta-da, I'm back. But not like that. This is a destruction, losing which it never comes back. It meaning, it being self-ignorance, which is the cause of samsara. What is samsara? Some sorrow or other. Okay, that is samsara. And so this is the Upanishad. And we have many, many Upanishads. And one of them is called the Big Forest Upanishad. Brihad, Big Forest, Aranya, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Because it has many, many topics and it is absolutely huge. And in this Upanishad, there is an interesting dialogue between two sages. The first one is Yajnavalkya, a very renowned and highly respected sage. And then another sage by the name of Gargi. Gargi is actually been appointed by a king to filter people and filter other sages, because the king wants a sabha, an august assembly of sages to sit and discuss things of deep philosophical import. Gargi is charged with the task of talking to the sages, asking them questions, and then deciding who belongs and who does not. She meets her match in Yajnavalkya. So she keeps asking him many questions, and he is able to answer everything. This is the dialogue. And in this dialogue, one of the questions she asks is, Kaha Kripanaha? Kripanaha is a very interesting word. It means, who is the stingiest person on the planet? Who is so parsimonious and so stingy? And then the answer, that would occur to us, would be what? The one who does not give donations, the one who does not help people. That might be the stingiest person, the one who hoards their wealth. But that's not where Yajnavalkya goes with this discussion. Yajnavalkya goes to a different place. And Yajnavalkya says, Atmanam aviditva yaha asmat lokat praiti bhogargi saha kripana. This is a direct quote. Atmanam aviditva. So, saha yaha asmat lokat praiti. The one who departs from this world, the one who leaves his or her body without knowing oneself. Without knowing oneself, is the stingiest person on earth, O revered Gargi. This is what he says. And she nods her head and says, okay, you are in, go this way. And the students of the Upanishad are left perplexed. What is the connection between not knowing the truth of the self and then, of course, dying away in that condition of self-ignorance? And then being stingy, because one can think of one's own life. How do I know how many times I was born and how many times I died and how many times I died and was born again without knowing the truth of the self? In fact, that is why one keeps being born again and again and again, because the journey never comes to an end, because this truth has not been understood. So, like a person given to alcohol, one can say, I can, like the person given to alcohol can say, I can give up alcohol anytime. In fact, I have already given it up 35 times. One can say that. So similarly, here too, one can say, oh, how many times I was born, I don't know, but each time I was self-ignorant, no problem. But there is a problem. And that is what is being pointed out here. The brain is not meant for pickling in chloroform or whatever, when we go to museums, we see, brains preserved. And you can see Einstein's brain and all these things. That is not what it is meant for. So the stingy person is the one who hoards the brain cells and does not use it for the study of the self. This, in fact, And I'm told I'm talking of, what is that? Sabotage in spirit, self-sabotage in spiritual growth. This is the first act of self-sabotage. This right here is the first act of self-sabotage. If one, because of karma or whatever it is, or because of certain choices, is not exposed to the teaching, then it's, one can be somewhat, if not totally or fully forgiven, somewhat forgiven. But then, if one chooses to continue to be like that, even after gaining some exposure, and that exposure will always be accidental. Suddenly you see somebody and then you hear them, and a small fire burns in the heart. The fire of wanting to know, a little of wanting to know is ignited. In fact, the kindling was already there. In fact, the embers were already there. But the talk that one heard or the book that one happened to read somehow did to the embers, and a little flame was born. There are many ways of taking this flame and making it into a conflagration for the desire to study, for the desire to gain this knowledge, self-knowledge. And there are many ways of extinguishing that with all the familiar accoutrements available to us, is it not? And we know what they are. From malls to balls, there are many kinds of distractions. How do you spell the word mall? M-A-U-L, where you go to be mauled of your pocketbook and your sanity. And then you end up in the ball, B-A-W-L. That's all there is. This is samsara. This is why Yagyavalkya said that hoarding the buddhi, buddhi means the faculty of knowing is called the buddhi in Sanskrit. Hoarding that, despite being blessed with a human birth, how rare it is. And even though from the modern standpoint, we keep complaining of, overpopulation, so many people. Now, what are they saying? 8 billion. You cannot any longer say 7 billion. 8 billion people in the universe. And so few resources, we keep grumbling. But from the standpoint of the Shastra, the teaching, 8 billion human beings means 8 billion bodies that are potentially primed for self-knowledge. Adhikari Sharira, a body of a person who is qualified for self-knowledge, because that is the first criterion. And even though I am assured that numerous cats and dogs take my online classes, I always say that they are sitting there because you are sitting there. They are not coming and listening to Tattvam Asi. They are not listening to Nachiketa and the Lord Yama dialogue. They are not interested in that. And guess what? They don't need that. They don't have a complex centered on the self. When the TV is on and a dog show is going on, they don't say, I wish I was there strutting around like this poodle and I wish I was getting the first prize. No dog says that. The dog show is not for the dog. It is for the owner of the dog. And the certificate for the best dog does not go to the dog. If it went to the dog, it would be assimilated, eaten up. It goes to the owner. And the owner will not give it to the dog because he or she knows that it will be eaten up. And not to be outdone, people whose dogs did not make it into into the dog show have started of late, 5-6 years ago, an ugly dog competition. Only human beings can do this, okay? The dog neither thinks I'm handsome, beautiful, or neither does it think I'm ugly. It has zero complex centered on itself. Zero complexes. That's why it goes around as it is. The poodle does not complain. Look what you have done. You're making me look like a tree. You have pruned me at the knees and ankles and at the tail. What am I? A cheerleader? How many pom-poms you have made me have? Doesn't say that. I'm not going outside dressed like this. It doesn't say that. Yesterday I was taking a walk and saw a little dog with shoes on. White dog with red shoes. It was very friendly. It came and, circled my legs and wanted to jump, and I was petting it. And I said, nice shoes. But the owner said, thank you. I turned around. I was surprised. I did not compliment the owner. This is what it is. This is exactly what it is. The complexes belong to us, not to the animals. They are fine. They are called muktaha. They are already free. They don't need this knowledge because they don't suffer from a sense of bondage, a notion of bondage. Or as the poets like to say, an ocean of samsara. Oh, how to cross the ocean of samsara. And then you come to the feet of the Upanishad, and the Upanishad says, what ocean? All that there is but a notion. It is not an ocean, it is a notion. And so therefore, this knowledge is something that is so rarely followed, seriously followed. We have dabblers. And because people like buffets, people generally like buffets because there are choices, so-called choices, not real choices, they are not actual choices, they are so-called choices. Even in a regular buffet, you may have 4, 5, 6, 7 items, but they're all made of grains, vegetables, whatever. We'll say it's a vegetarian buffet, okay? Yeah. So they're all made of all these things. Fruits, vegetables, grains, lentils. What else is there in different forms? So the choices actually, in a way, are oppressive if we look at it. And the choices distract us from focusing on ourselves. They are a convenient distraction because we can tell each other and get away with it by saying, I spent the whole morning deciding what to wear. You can say that, especially if you're a celebrity, because this is what happens. And the more the choices, the harder it is to get centered, to find the center within oneself. And that becomes, my friends, the next act of self-sabotage. Buying into the myth of being a chooser, as though one's life depended on it. Buying into the myth of numerous choices and taking each choice seriously. And keeping on saying, I have to make the correct choice, otherwise something bad will happen. And in this world of too many choices and too few ways of deciding, prioritizing them, one is like a float cell, jet cell in the sea of samsara. That's what it is. You get thrown into the ocean and then you're just like a piece of, what is that called? Out of which tables and chairs are made these days. Driftwood, yes. The word that came was wood that drifts, but that was not quite right. Driftwood, like a piece of driftwood. One is thrown back and then again come to the shore. I want to stay at the shore, no, but another wave, another set of choices takes you back. It's like one step forward and 100 steps backward. This is, if this is not self-sabotage, I don't know what else is. This is what is self-sabotage. A very important form of self-sabotage is keeping on being busily embroiled in so many choices that one cannot see the way out of them. Each one is taken extremely seriously and each one is completely indulged in. Each one is enthroned, enshrined, given a kind of an importance it really does not have. These days we have a disease. It is called FOMO. What is FOMO? Yes, fear of missing out. I want to ask, on what? What are you afraid of missing out? No, if I'm here, I cannot be there. If I'm doing this, I cannot be doing that. And if let's say I manage to do two things, I zip from here to there, and then I'm not doing that. If I marry this one, there is so many other people I haven't married. What to do about all these things? Each one looks wonderful. Don't marry at all. Choice. What else can I say? And so each one looks appealing. And if I don't follow this, same thing with job. This one has a good pay, but the commute is killing. And then that one is nearby, but the boss is a control freak. The third one is work from home. But really, I don't want to work from home. I'm tired of doing that for the last 2 years. And I have put on weight because the home office is right next to the kitchen. These are called pandemic woes. And so, what to do? And this is what it is. This is a condition, this FOMO condition. First, I heard of this expression FOMO from a teenager, but then quickly I realized that it is affecting all the adults as well. It's not just teenagers. Somewhere you have to screech to a halt, cognitively speaking, metaphorically speaking. You have to stop. You have to see the world go by in a dizzying pace. When you stop, it is no longer dizzy. You see it. And that's when there is something, an act of grace happens. That's when the grace happens, when you stop. Just stop. That's what it is. But stop what? Stop this FOMO. Stop engaging in these choices all the time. Because in the larger scheme of things, at the level at which we are addressing this topic today, it really does not matter. It really does not matter if you bought this particular article of clothing or that. If you ate this kind of food versus the other one. If you chose to be with one kind of an individual versus the other one. It does not matter at all. Why? It's a very important question. Because, and you are justified in asking that question. Why does it not matter? Why should I sit here? I've never seen you in my life, and you are saying it doesn't matter. You don't have my life. Why should I believe you? Because your birth is not accidental. Your parentage is not accidental. And where you were born in the pecking order, whether you were the eldest or the middle one or somewhere towards the end or the youngest, that was also not an accident. It was just an incident, not an accident. Where you grew up, again, was already there in the scheme of things. Everything has a purpose. Your life is not devoid of purpose. In fact, I would say that everybody's life has a twofold purpose. One that is to be unfolded in the here and now, in terms of the empirical realm of transaction, of giving, receiving, taking, walking, stopping, occupation, calling, how one relates, and the essence of oneself that one brings into every transaction. That is the first purpose. Often that is easier to connect to, but sometimes that also eludes, because usually one is good in more than one thing. It's not that one is born only with one skill. And again, here there are choices. And then one is confused. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? You keep asking, you keep asking. Sometimes it takes a whole life not to find out what you're supposed to do or who you are supposed to be, but to get into the groove of that which you're supposed to be, to express that which you're supposed to do. That is why it takes so long, which leads us to the second purpose. And the second purpose again is very universal, which we have already spoken of. So I'll just allude to it and remind us of it, is to understand the truth of the self. And what this truth is and this vision, we'll get into it in a bit. But first, just to see this. So here is the rub. These two purposes are frequently what we shun. We cannot make peace with them. We cannot make peace with the first purpose because there is resistance, there is fear, and there are blocks. Whether the block is there are too many choices and I don't know what to do, or the block is fear. I'm afraid to walk in these shoes. Or the block is doubt. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this or that. Or there is a divergence. I know I'm good at this and I'm supposed to be doing this, but I don't want to do this and I want to do something else. This is Arjuna's fate. Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita faced a very similar situation. Extremely similar situation. What did he, he was a warrior. He had to fight. That was his job. And he was the commander-in-chief of the army. You can't suddenly say, oh, I belong to Peace International. I have just founded an organization. You can do that after the war. We have a king in ancient India, his name was Ashoka, who's credited with the spread of Buddhism. He fought a war to expand the kingdom. And then after the war, he toured the battlefields, his face and clothes wet with his own tears. And he had a deep spiritual transformation. If Arjuna had that, it's a different matter. He didn't have that. He was as bloodthirsty as one could get. He wanted to vanquish the army. He had no problem fighting the war. He had a problem with this particular war because it was, quote unquote, his own people. Here there is resistance. He knows what he's supposed to do. It's not that he's confused. But he doesn't want to do it for some misguided sense of I, me, and mine. Which leads us to the next form or the point of self-sabotage. Operating our lives on a parallel reality to that of God, Ishvara, Bhagavan. As I said, nothing is accident. Your own parentage, the place of birth, the place of death, the place of where you articulate your actions and where you reap the results of action, all the places are all there. Oh, so are you giving us a deterministic talk? No, this is not at all deterministic. It is a karmic talk. It is a dharmic talk. It is not deterministic. What do I mean by saying it is a karmic point here? A karmic point means that karma or the law of karma decides all these things. In which body you will be born. Will you be born in India? Whole life pine to go to America. Die away in India. And the next life, Bhagavan says, Tathastu, so be it. Be born in an American family and want to go to India. Dress like a hippie. Buy one Hare Rama, Hare Krishna shawl and wear that all the time till it wears you out. Will that be your trajectory? This is all the law of karma. But isn't the law of karma deterministic? You're saying this is all ordained. This is not all ordained. What is karma? Karma is something that the consequences of the exercise of your free will in other lives. Simple. The exercise of your free will in other lives, here you have to eat what you cooked. The bed that you prepared in the last life, you lie in it now. And if it is a good bed, all soft and wonderful, you can feel good about yourself. Oh, I must have done something good. So that is good karma. Likewise, if you're sitting here and you think, oh, this is an enjoyable talk, I'm having a good time, then it is good karma. If you're thinking, what did I do? Why am I here? Then it could be said, it is not so much good karma. Either way you can take it. In either case, it is the exercise of one's free will. So where is the determinism? When that free will is exercised in keeping with one's, in keeping with what? In keeping with one's morals, ethics, the universal matrix of norms called dharma. What is right? What is appropriate or correct in any given situation? And what is appropriate for me? These three things constitute dharma. And when it is done in keeping with these three things, then that action always is a blessed action which produces comfortable situations in the here, and the hereafter. This is a universal law called the law of dharma and the law of karma. Nothing is an accident. Nothing is a coincidence. Because it is all an articulation of the law. So let's say somebody came into this world with a memory of being a philanthropist in the last life. They had perfect memory in some kind of an ideal, hypothetical scenario. They had perfect memory. And then they said, oh, I am here and I want this. And I gave so much money away and so much property away in my last life. Why am I struggling? Where is that good karma? You can't command it. Why? Because it is a universal law. And that universal law, according to the, according to the Upanishad, according to the Vedic vision, is not a mandate of God. It's a manifestation of Ishvara, God. It's a manifestation of Bhagavan. So whenever karma appears, karma means here result of action. Whenever the result of action appears, it is Bhagavan saying, hello, I am here too. And then we need never worry and never lament. Why is Bhagavan not giving me darshan? This is darshan. This is immediate darshan in the form of one's own karma. Every minute of every day, Bhagavan, the teaching will tell this Bhagavan is nothing other than me. That is what has to be understood. That is what has to be chosen to follow, to understand. And so there is a reality, there is an empirical reality which flows like the Ganga, the holy river in India. It just flows. And then what do? We dam the river. We want to irrigate some fields. We want to irrigate some cash crop. We want to divert the water somewhere here. And the river doesn't know this is the state of, this is one particular state and this is the next state. It knows not. It just flows. But the governor or the chief minister of one state says, no, I want to have it right here. I don't want to give it to the next state. I'm going to make a dam right here so that it doesn't go to the next state. That's not the river. The river just flows. Despite these obstacles, despite these embankments and different the Narmada, of the Yamuna, of all the rivers, it finds its way to the ocean. Why? Because that is its destiny. And this is how we learn from the river. In India, we don't call the river river. River is mother. River is mother. Why? Because she shows us the way. She shows us the way how to fulfill our destiny. Even though there is human-made obstacles along the way, she just finds the way. Why? Because she does not stop flowing. She does not stop being herself. And what is this herself? She just flows. She is water. She is everywhere. And she just flows. That is herself. That is her nature. That is why the river we worship as our mother. Because she nourishes us not only with water, but she nourishes us with this knowledge of never, ever, ever giving up hope to reach our destiny, no matter how many lifetimes it may take. We learn hope from the river. We learn compassion from the river, from all the rivers. Why? Because we throw debris in her. Yet she purifies us and she purifies herself. This is why the river is very much worshipped. And through this, when we see, because you see, these are all various kinds of teachers. We have a manifestation of God called Dattatreya. He has 3 faces and is very revered in the culture. And when he was asked, who is your teacher? He started to tell a story that took many days to complete. Because he talked about the rivers, he talked about the trees, he talked about all the things that people that he met on the way. Common people, women, men, animals, everything. By our awareness, awarefulness, we can convert them. We can convert life itself and all the things we meet into a source of teaching. Every day is a day spent in discipleship. Every day is a day of surrendering to that destiny that is already there for me, that I don't have to sit and scratch the head to figure it out. What a waste of time. What a waste of anxiety. And what a waste of wrinkles, really. With the face all scrunched up. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I always say that Bhagavan must need at this point a cough drop because Bhagavan is screaming, the path is open to you, walk on it. Screaming himself, herself, hoarse. But it's as though our ears are closed. We do not listen because there is a different music happening. Not a music. Heavy metal, okay? Yeah, cacophony. For some people it is music. For me it is music. As though. There is a cacophony which has become comfortable, in which I am always there and in which I have, it's like familiarity. So there is a familiarity in this cacophony. And when there is silence, I'm afraid. When there is some kind of a classical music, which is very beautiful, I don't know what to do. I hate it. I want to turn it off. Why? Because I have created an alternative reality alongside the reality that is already unfolding as my life, as the life of others around me. I have created an alternative path. It's like how in national parks there will be a sign. Even here in India, everywhere, there will be a sign and there will be some small yellow tape put across. Please keep off grass. But that is where the person will walk. Why? You just have to go around. It's not very far. It's a little longer. No. I'm going to go here itself. And we tell ourselves, already so many footsteps are there. Already the grass is bald over there. The vegetation is already bald. So what if it is the habitat of some burrowing owl or a bald eagle? Doesn't matter. I'm going to walk over it. Because somebody else has already walked and I won't be the first. I won't be the last. We tell ourselves. Somewhere we have to start. Somewhere we have to stop this cacophony, participating in that which is injurious. Because this is injurious. Oh, but I feel healthy and I'm not needing to go to the doctor. Wait, that's all. Wonderful, you feel healthy. But this dissonance will express itself through the body. How can it not? Eventually it will. And so therefore, this is in fact this creation of this parallel reality called Jiva Srishti. And not learning how to walk gracefully in and on the path of Ishvara Srishti, Ishvara's creation, is the main dish of self-sabotage. First, it starts unknowingly because I'm just following the masses. I'm doing what my parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents did before them, and I'm doing what the society does and what people around me do. This is what the Kathopanishad says. Paranchikhani vyatrinat swayambhuhu parak paschyatina antaratman kaschid dhiraha atmanam aikshat avritta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. It's like everyone is swimming downstream because it looks easy. Is swimming in one direction, let's say. Oh, but that is going to make you go off a cliff. Oh, no, there is safety in numbers. I'm going because everybody else is going. Kaschit dhira means one person whose avritta chakshuhu means who has revolutionized his or her own vision, has the courage to turn back and go against the grain of the masses and not get a migraine in the process. Very nice. That is what it takes. It takes one person. It takes one individual. And this is why in our tradition, we don't wait for saviors because of two reasons. Why? First is you are not bound. You think you are bound. So if you are not bound, why do you need to be saved? And the second thing is because that saving, the so-called notion of bondage, to free yourself from that, you are the main character. You have to star in your own life. You have to participate in the life that is already given. Everything is given. Caregivers given. And the child doesn't come out with a packed sandwich. It is hungry, milk given. Oxygen given. School given. Siblings given. Disappointments given. Joys given. Complexities given. But you take the big roundabout, but like the mother river, you come back home. That is the destiny. And refusing to hear that call, regardless of how many chances one has had, refusing to take this pursuit seriously. It is in fact serious enough to give up everything else. But it doesn't matter. Many people are not at that place, and that is not a failing. But at least we have the duty to listen to the empirical destiny that is there in front of us. The day-to-day articulation of what one is supposed to do, and to learn to do that gracefully. And when that is done, the other issue, the bigger issue of finding one's destiny and understanding the truth of oneself in the light of the Upanishads as free of fear and sorrow will definitely come along, because the relative destiny gives itself over as a preparation for understanding the absolute as oneself. The two are connected. How can they be not? They are definitely connected. They are definitely, it is all ready. The shoes are ready. But looking at them, you think they are too big. I can't wear them. I'll fall. Or you wonder, it's new and I want something already worn and familiar. It will pinch. These are the ways in which one steps back and is always in a state of hesitancy and diffidence. The impasse, there's only one way to break this impasse. Find somebody who has already broken it for themselves. This in our tradition is the teacher, not someone who has come down from the sky. No, someone who has already gone through this kind of a dilemma and has been able to be guided by their teacher, by his teacher, by her teacher, by his teacher, by her teacher. And then, of course, the question comes, who is the first guru? Everything is Bhagavan. Who is the first human being? Bhagavan. Who is the first guru? Bhagavan. Who is the first mother? Bhagavan. Who is the first father? Bhagavan. Everything has come from that. Ishvara, Bhagavan, God. That is who it is. And so why can't I make Bhagavan my guru? You can. In fact, we have Guru as Bhagavan in the other hall, Lord Dakshinamurti. We have that. You can. So what will he give me? If you seriously pray, he will give you a live guru. Oh, why do I need a live guru? I'm more comfortable with dead gurus. People say this. Yeah. Dead gurus, easy. Look at the photograph and go like this. Yes, I surrender. Dead guru does not interact. Dead guru smiles and blesses. Blesses how? For you to have a live guru, I told you. Why? Because the knowledge is live. It is a transmission. It is alive. You are alive. The guru is alive. It's, as I said yesterday in another talk, it is a living Vedanta. It's a living body of knowledge. You need to be taught. But in order to be taught, you have to be ready. And that itself, there itself, are some acts of self-sabotage that we will discuss. So to be ready. Ready means what? Ready means the opposite of this person who approached me and said, I have read the Kathopanishad. Okay. I have read the Kenopanishad. I have read the Bhagavad Gita. I have read this. I have read that. I have read that. I said, okay, is there a question or is there, what are you trying to say? Then the person said, nothing happened to me and I'm very intelligent. So I have come to the conclusion that the sacred texts are not at all transformational. And I am telling that to everybody. Do not waste your time because the sacred texts are not transformational. In a way, he's correct because they are not meant to be read. They're not meant to be read. We do have English translations of all of them, all the Upanishads. But you read the translation, authentic translations. We cannot fault the translation at all. That which brings speech to light, but that which is not within the purview of speech. Know this to be Brahman, not that which you worship at your altar. What did you understand? Nothing. This is the problem. Because the texts are very terse, to the point, primarily because, not that they need, they need to be interpreted, they need to be unfolded. And the teacher unfolds them not according to her or his whims and fancies, but the teacher unfolds them exactly how their teacher before them unfolded them. So we belong to a tradition called Sampradaya, Parampara. It is a lineage. There are many such lineages that are still alive, where there is no break. 5,000-year-old lineages we have in India. And that is what is to be respected. That is why this is not a cult, because it is not, and it has never been person-centric. It is teacher-centric, yes, but it is not person-centric. Is the teacher not a person? Yes. The teacher is a person, no problem with that. But the teacher is more than a person. The teacher is a principle, a concept. Concept that will help me navigate how to live and what to study in order to let go of this parallel reality that I have surmounted. The equation is very simple, really. The problem is one of avidya, self-ignorance, and so therefore what is needed? Vidya, knowledge. The antidote is very clear. It is a life of study of the Upanishads, of Vedanta, of the holy sentences in the Vedas that say that you are none other than Bhagavan. If you take this knowledge just for face value, I am Bhagavan, without understanding the nuances of how and at what level this equation is being made. This equation is not being made at the level of the body, because the body of Bhagavan you'll never be able to come close to, because that which is the body of Bhagavan is all bodies everywhere. Bodies of water, bodies of beings, bodies of land, everything. Galaxies, universes, everything. And what is your body? Something that is perishing as we speak. This is our body. And so we will never be able to make that equation on the level of the body, on the level of the mind, because the mind is what is confining this kind of a cognition within this particular body. And what is the mind of Ishvara? Every mind. And what do you say when you think of every mind has the presence of Ishvara? When you contemplate on that, all you can say is never mind. Yeah, give up thinking about it. So that is not on the level where the equation is made. Otherwise, one will become like some kind of a half-hearted philosopher, some kind of a new age philosophy. I am God, so now I need to sit and manifest something. What will happen? What can you manifest other than confusion? So this is not the level at which the equation is being made. The level at which the equation is being made is the level of the absolute, not the level of the body, the mind, the senses, or an assemblage of all of them. The equation is not being made. The equation Tattvamasi, you are the cause of the universe, is not being made at the level of the changing world. It is made at the level of that which is changeless. Oh, there is something changeless in me? Yes. What is changeless in me? I don't know. Everything is changing. See, the body is growing old and it is changing. Mind, of course, I'm changing my mind all the time. Senses are changing. Everything is changing. Who is the one that says everything is changing? Is that one changing also? Yes? No? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Is the one who says everything changing also changing? No. Why? Because if the one who says, the one who is the observer of all changes is also changing, then you just cannot be an observer of change. You can only be an observer if everything except the observer is changing. That is the Sakshi, the witness. That is the Sakshi. So that is not where the change is made. So the Sakshi is unchanging. And who is this Sakshi? I am. I exist. Ahamasmi. I don't need anybody else to tell me I exist. Ahamasmi sada bhami. I'm always self-evident. Kadachinna aham apriyaha. I am never an object of hatred. Oh, but you don't know me, I hate myself. What is this myself that you're talking about? I don't like how I look. Okay, that's not you. That's just the body. I don't like how I think. That's not you. That's the mind. I don't like how I feel. That's not you. That's the emotions. But this I, which spontaneously says, I am, is always lovable. Always lovable. And this lovable nature really translates into that yearning to connect with people, things, to be one with everything. Why? Because it is already one with everything. That is how it is. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat, I am. Chit, I know it. I know I am. Self-evident, self-effulgent self. Ananda, I do not come to an end. Body comes to an end. The I never comes to an end. This is what it is. And when we unpack the I, this is the unchanging self that emerges through the debris of the body, mind, sense complex and all the other complexes that one has. Then you do the same thing on the other side. You unpack the concept of Bhagavan. What is Bhagavan? Oh, all powerful, all the creator of the universe, the sustainer of the universe, in whom the universe unto whom it goes back. That Bhagavan. What is that Bhagavan? You take away the accoutrements of Shakti, the power. You take away the power to create. You take away the overlordship. Cognitively, you can't really take it away, but cognitively, you don't reckon that. And what do you have there? Bhagavan is, because everything is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is. And then Bhagavan is all knowledge. Anything you take, it's all knowledge. And this one is wanting to come out, maybe. Let us see. This is, what can we say about this? It's a flower. Then we know a little more about this flower. What is it called? Please show some signs of life, at least one sign of life. Yeah. What is this called?
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan, yes. But relatively speaking, what is this called? Chrysanthemum.
Dahlia.
Chrysanthemum. Not a dahlia, chrysanthemum. Yeah. And then this is chrysanthemum. Then you ask a few more questions. But why are its petals like this, but the petals of the rose are like that? Then we can, if you're a scientist, if you're a botanist, you can come up with some clues and come up with some reasons. Then you ask why. Then that's why it's called chrysanthemum, because we are mum on the subject. That's what it is. That's why it is chrysanthemum. Finished, silent. I don't know. In America, you shrug the shoulders. That's what it is. I don't know. I don't know why it is called this. I don't know why it is like this. Flower exists, and flower is nothing but all knowledge. There's nothing other than this. This is name and form called flower, but it is all knowledge. How it behaves. Maybe the leaves are a certain way because they have a certain function, and the petals are a certain way for propagation of the species. So that for easy pollination, all these things we can see. But that is where the cleverness is. That cleverness is Bhagavan. That sentiency is Bhagavan. This is alive. Everything is alive. Even a rock is alive, except that it's not able to express itself because it lacks a subtle body. Rock is alive. You are alive. Only difference between you and the rock is this. You can say, I rock. The rock cannot say, I rock. That's all it is. So Bhagavan is all knowledge, sentience, and everything, everywhere. Ananta, everything limitless. Satchidananda Bhagavan, Satchidananda you. That at this level is where the oneness is taught, unfolded, expressed, and made real. Not at the level of the body. But how to understand that without a teacher? It's not possible at all. So therefore, if one is serious about this knowledge, one is serious about being a disciple. One is serious about discipleship. And not being serious about discipleship or floundering everywhere is again another very common form of self-sabotage. But even after one commits to a discipleship, a path of discipleship, with a live teacher, let me add that. There are many ways in which one can second guess oneself. The relationship with the teacher is necessarily one-sided because one needs something from the teacher and the teacher doesn't need anything from you. This knowledge is freely given without any manipulation whatsoever. Even the expectation that one will come to the next talk, even that is not there. That is what I mean freely given. Freely doesn't just mean free of charge. That is also true. But freely means there is no expectation that, there will be the person will come back again. That is also not there. Why? Because the teacher is one who is fulfilled. And therefore, the student wants to be that wholeness which the teacher embodies. And therefore, one enters into that relationship knowing that it is going to be one-sided. And it has to be necessarily one-sided because that is when it is functional and that is when it is safe. Why do I say this? Because look at all other relationships. You give and you take. And then always one feels I have given so much and I'm getting so little back. I did this for you, but you are not doing this for me. This is the realm of samsara, dysfunction. Oh, but then the teacher also is part of this duality, because there is a duality between the teacher and the student. Yes, but there is a difference, because it's the last frontier of duality. It is a place where that duality is given up necessarily, because the teacher disappears, really. When you are ready, the teacher disappears in you, as Bhagavan, as you. Who is Bhagavan? There is a very nice couplet. Saint Kabir. One day he says there was a knock on the door. He opened the door. And to his surprise, the Guru and God both came to visit him simultaneously. And he was in a terrible quandary. What should I do? Whose feet should I fall at first? Then the Saint Kabir says, fall at the Guru's feet, because of whom you were able to recognize that God is standing at your door. Very beautiful. This is what the tradition is. But here again, there is a very big potential impediment that one has to be aware of. Because traversing through this ocean of wrong relationships, dysfunctional relationships, of codependent abuse, neglect, etc., disappointment, disenchantment, hopelessness, one finally comes to the Guru, a placid lake, a sea of calm, and one thinks, I'm just so happy here, this is so wonderful. For 5 minutes it is wonderful, yes. Oh, what happens at the 6th minute? Self-sabotage. That's what happens. 6th minute, the placidity of this relationship is tested. Why? Because there are ripples of doubt, despair. Why do ripples of doubt and despair appear on the surface of this lake, which is really showing you the correct reflection of yourself, according to the Upanishads? Why is there the doubt? Why is there the despair? Because one has brought into this relationship the expectation of being mothered, being parented. Because the Guru is a figure of authority. And all the things that one could not get from the mother and the father, all those expectations are projected, thrown onto the teacher. This is what happens. Can you avoid it? Alas, no. But you can do something about it. You can take care of it. When it happens, as it happens, recognize it. Recognize that first there will be what is called a shobhana adhyasa, a kind of a positive projection, where you will see the teacher as, oh, east or west, you are the best. And that positive projection is something that you have put on the teacher. I never met anybody like this in my life. So you must be who I think you are, or you must be somebody. See, again, it is my own parallel projection. You must be compassionate, meaning you say yes to whatever I want. That is my definition of compassion. So student says, you must never say no. And so this is what it is. You must do this for me. That is when I recognize you as the best teacher. These are one's own expectations in one's own head that are projected. In the beginning, it's always a positive projection. And then after that, what happens? It soon turns negative, because the teacher is not going to the teacher's job is not to fulfill your expectations. That is not why the teacher has taken birth. That is not why the teacher is in one's life. The teacher's job is only to teach. That's all. Nothing else. The teacher's job is not to bless you. The teacher's job is not to pray for you. The teacher's job is not to give you some things you never had. No. The teacher's job is simply to teach. But one has many expectations. And when those expectations go unmet, then that Shobhana Adhyasa, the positive projection, turns into on itself and becomes a negative projection. Ashobhana Adhyasa. Oh, I knew all along I shouldn't have followed you. And look how my life is going bad because of this. I love you, and now I don't love you anymore. I want to run away. I want to drop out from the teaching. I want to get out of sight from this teacher. I want to run as far away. You are fired. You tell the teacher in your mind. And then you go on to another teacher. Do you think it's going to be any better? No, not with this attitude. This is the self-sabotage. Because one comes to the teacher with the inner duality of wanting to be babied, wanting to be attended to, wanting to be loved in a certain way. And then that is the inner child. And the adult comes to the teacher wanting to be taught. Poor teacher. These are the occupational hazards of a Vedanta teacher. To keep waving the balloon in one hand and the Vedanta book in the other, simultaneously attending to the inner child and the adult. And how to do that, I learned from my teacher. I'm still learning, in fact. One is a lifelong student in this way. And so, therefore, this kind of a split itself is a form of self-sabotage. The teacher is there to teach. Included in this pedagogy of the teaching is how to manage the inner children, the inner brats, so that they don't hijack the teaching situation, so that they don't take one away from the knowledge, from the source of the knowledge. And one has to put up with some discomfort, emotional discomfort, physical discomfort. One has to be ready to do all that. One has to resolve this transference, which is a very important act of self-sabotage that needs to be overcome through the practice of self-love, compassion, through the practice of reparenting this split, healing this inner child, healing this split. That is what it is. I don't turn the teacher into a babysitter of my inner frozen needs. This has to be the mantra. Then immediately one sees that one is learning differently. One is progressing by leaps and bounds. One is in a different place spiritually. One is no longer sabotaging oneself. One is no longer getting in one's own way. And such a relationship, when one comes out to the other side, is extremely blessed. Blessed is the teacher who has such a student. Blessed, of course, is the student who has such a teacher. And that is where one can help oneself through some housekeeping, inner housekeeping. The cobwebs of neglect, doubt, despair, want, etc., is taken care of through yoga, through therapy, through so many other ways, through writing it out, drawing it out, through so many outlets that are there. And bereft of all this baggage, one comes to study, and then that is when the sabotage stops and the transformation happens. I pray that it happens in all your lives. Thank you very much. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions? Do we have time for a few questions, or should we stop, or what should we do? Okay. This many questions. Yes.
So, when one is in love with their guru,
Yes.
and the guru is giving all these different things, or is teaching the individual, because he's more than just a guru, he's a parent, or she or he is a parent. The guru is known as
A friend.
all-encompassing, huh?
Guru is known as a friend, a parent, etc. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was very, when I was younger, it was very large
Yeah.
image in
Yeah.
my mind that I created.
Yes.
But I never got to not to hate, but dislike or say, oh, you're not good for me anymore. I mean, it keeps, that person or that guru still lives in me a bit.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is very nice. You are extremely blessed. These forms of sabotage, which I have discussed, it's not that everybody has them. These are all things that could be in the way, that could cause one to trip. And if it hasn't caused you to trip, that is wonderful. I'm very, very happy. Very happy. Yeah. So, yes, we do say, Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva, you are the mother, you are the father, you are the sister, brother, you are the friend, you are the teacher. We say that. But it's more of a, it's more of a, not so much a relationship, but more of a singularity, to express the singularity of the surrender. Meaning, I'm not going to look for anything else other than this knowledge. So you, as the teacher, in fact, embody all the relationships. That is what it is. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that out. I think that is, I don't see any other questions. So we can close, yes?
The only other question is, when will you come back?
Anytime. Bhagavan willing.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. And thank you, everybody, for joining in person and online. And we, of course, as Swamiji said, the teachings are always offered freely. And we are receiving donations to support Swamini's work. So we have a donation basket in the back for those who are here. And those who are on video, there's a button right there next to the video. So you can contribute that way. And a reminder that Swamini has her books, thank you, for sale over